What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy. Welcome to my vlog. And it seems like almost on a weekly basis now, there seems to be more and more evidence piling up, leading towards the idea that Russia may have hacked into or otherwise affected the presidential elections back in 2016. And, okay, what I'm going to talk about isn't 100% entirely related to all that, but just a couple of comments on that first. For one, I feel like it's really easy to make an argument that Donald Trump should be, like, arrested for just impeding the process in terms of the investigation and all that kind of stuff, because it seems like anytime something links him to the whole situation, or, you know, anytime that there seems to be substantial evidence that could be made that Russia hacked or otherwise influenced the elections, he fires somebody, or just all sorts of stuff he's been doing that pretty clearly, I would say, fits into the definition of obstruction of justice. So how he has not been impeached for that kind of thing, I don't know, other than the fact that he keeps firing people. It's one of those things where I'm sitting here really scratching my head, wondering how in the world something so potentially egregious can just seem to kind of slide on by so continually when there is more and more evidence being piled up. And eventually it's going to kind of come to a breaking point, I think. But enough speculation on that. What I really want to do, my next kind of risk assessment type video discussion on, is kind of looking more specifically into this idea of hacking and being able to potentially influence such things like elections through electronic means. Or even if you just kind of broaden the scope of it. Like, there's a lot of bad things that can happen if you have really good hackers with access to really important things. Like, I don't know how many of you out there have seen or heard much about the video game Watch Dogs, or a video game series, I guess it is, because a sequel came out too. But that kind of stuff, that is where my mental picture is going with a lot of this hacking talk. Now, I realize there are a lot of things going on already that involve hacking. There are, like, hack attacks, almost, you could call them, going between countries and individuals just all over the map, literally. Like, if you pull up a map, I totally forget how you find this exactly. I think I first heard of it through a game theory. It was either game theory or Vsauce. I'm pretty sure it was game theory, though, talking about Watch Dogs. And, like, saying you could pull up this map that will give you, like, a live feed of these hack attacks that are going back and forth all over the globe. And it's it's ridiculous and a little unnerving, because just all that stuff going on, all these hacks continuously happening, it really kind of makes you worry for your electronic safety. And now a lot of it is smaller things in the form of, like, you know, spam emails or phishing, maybe some malware and stuff like that. A lot of the, you know, higher security electronic encoding and protection is going to just block out that stuff. Most of it. But that's the thing. There are some people who are good enough to get past that kind of stuff. And if it's even potential, like the fact that we can even have it in our minds that the election may have been hacked, never mind all the evidence that seems to be piling up to prove that, you know, I'm just like, if you get somebody access to something even more significant, you know, like hidden secret files from the government, or, you know, all sorts of confidential information, there's all sorts of bad things that can happen. So, anyway, yeah. If we continue building our technology the way that we have and making our lives so dependent upon electronic devices, that's just going to make the situation even worse. We've got cell phones, obviously. We've got computers, tablets, video game consoles. Honestly, there's so much that is internet connected now. You could have a super good hacker essentially able to control nearly everything in your life just a few years down the road, when almost literally everything becomes connected to the internet and controlled by electronics. So again, go back to that picture of Watch Dogs, the video game. That is what can happen. And if you get that level of stuff happening on a international government scale, there's all sorts of chaos that can happen. What if we suddenly have, say, our nuclear weapons controlled by something electronic, and then someone hacks into that, and they release a nuke and fire it on a country just because they can and they have access to it, and this person doesn't happen to like a particular country? What happens then? Like, our entire world could literally be in danger because of this kind of stuff. So, you know, as much as I tend to like electronics and the internet and all the things that we can do with all this technology, it's freaking scary, dude. Because just having everything potentially hackable, no. There's some very dangerous stuff that can happen there. So if we're talking risk assessment, in worst case scenario, our world could potentially get just blown to bits, literally, from this kind of stuff. Obviously, there's a whole lot more that could happen, but none of it's going to affect the scale or be on the same level as what I've already talked about. I mean, you've got bank accounts that could be hacked. You've got all sorts of just personal information that can be hacked into. People can start logging into your personal files on all sorts of different things. Any kind of insurance that's done online, anything that would be done online could potentially be hacked into. So just not only am I concerned about the, you know, global scale stuff, but also just the personal information and all that could happen and that could be disrupted, distorted, affected in various ways. So I think big hope, big I don't want to say lesson or moral of the story, but the big thing that I'm really hoping happens to counteract this is that, you know, security measures like, you know, firewalls, antivirus, all that kind of stuff, it just continues to get upgraded along with it. Because while there are, you know, the bad types of hackers out there sending out malware and spam and stuff like that, and potentially even worse, there are good people as well with those skills that are also working to increase security and, you know, essentially make the chances of something like Watch Dogs less likely, or even just the general idea of things being hacked, just electronic security being improved by these people. So let's hope that the good guys are working harder and doing better than the bad guys in this case. Because otherwise, lots of bad stuff could happen. Anyway, that's all I've got for this time around. So, as always, like and share if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel, click the bell, check the notification box. That should give you updates anytime that I post something to YouTube. You can also follow me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's all down in the description below. And if you want to leave some comments, just look slightly below that. Leave a comment down below there with your thoughts on this video, ideas for any other things I could talk about. I'm open to suggestions, so leave it down below if you've got any ideas or thoughts. And that's going to about do it with me and different ways to interact and keep up. So, I hope you're all doing well, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Stay cool, people.